Planet Vero Studio is powered by the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. Chris Nolan grew up in New York until he joined the U.S. Marine Corps in 1996. He then joined the U.S. Capitol Police until making the transition to real estate. Shortly after, the Nolan Group was formed. They continue to strive for the best possible experience for buyers and sellers. How can they help you in your journey? And now, here's The Nolan Show with your host, Chris Nolan.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nolan Show. Hope you had a happy Halloween. Hope everybody was safe out there and had a lot of fun. We are back here in the studio again. With me as always, we got Heather Lewis joining us. How you doing, Heather?
Doing really good.
Awesome. Glad to hear it. And joining us all the way from Maryland, we got a great friend of mine, Kevin Tucker, Army veteran, just an overall great guy. How you doing today, Kevin?
I'm doing well, Chris. Thanks, and appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. So glad you could join us today. We wanted to have you on here today because for the whole month of November, we're highlighting all the veterans and the things that they're doing to help the community and what's going on out there. And I know you're up there in Maryland, but you've been working, you had your career in the Army, 25 years, correct?
Total time in uniform is about that. I medically retired after 15 years in the Army, and that was part of my career was really heavily invested in going overseas. So right. I spent about 8.5 of the 15 years overseas. But I started off, even just in high school doing junior ROTC and, community projects, service projects and things like that. And I never stopped. So this was a natural fit.
Yeah, and I know you stay busy. It seems like every time I talk to you, you're on the run with a new project and a new group that you're working with. So what's going on up there in Maryland right now?
Actually, several really cool things in the works. One of the things that I do fairly consistently is support local veteran business owners who have firearms training for handgun qualifications, concealed carry licenses, those who need to qualify or requalify security staff, really focused and primarily aimed at veteran-owned companies. I give them range time on my personal range here in Port Tobacco, Maryland, and I don't charge them for this. I want to make sure I can keep it as low-key as possible, a relaxed environment for them, on top of anything else. From a business person to business person standpoint, it's critical to be able to relieve some of the stress that goes with, heavy overhead movement and trying to accomplish things with minimal budget capabilities. So that's something I've really enjoyed. We've partnered up and have started talks with a local and regional business owner who's also a Marine veteran named Joseph Kreiner with Just Called Joe and Simplify Adjustments, which is a storm damage and home insurance adjusters for any year of kind of natural disaster, and we're trying to work towards establishing a larger base of veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned businesses in the area, and form that in a way that will allow the overall program to support the smaller businesses within the program by giving them access to things like logistics, personnel, payroll management, administrative management. There's a lot of regulatory guidelines and things for many businesses, and especially when it comes to things like safety, security, insurance, and we're talking including fire departments, EMS, and other types of individuals. We do all kinds of things regarding those. So it's critical to be able to let those guys deflate a little bit of that heavy load, because it's a big lift for a small business to cover down on so many regulatory
needs. Absolutely. Yeah, it really is. And that's one of the things that we always try and highlight. And that's why we're doing this, is because we have a lot of people out there that are good at what they're good at, but none of us are good at everything. So having the support of other veterans is critical.
Absolutely.
Because we all speak the same language at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
and it's something that's kind of funny. We hear men are from Mars, women from Venus, kind of stuff, where men like to solve problems, and women just want to hear people, or want people to hear them. But the reality is veterans, whether they're male or female, or or they identify as something else. That stuff doesn't matter to me, because at the end of the day, I can respect people's individual choices, but I'm more interested in solving problems, and that's what most veterans really want to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
We don't necessarily see it as a complex solution or a complex problem unless we just struggle to solve it. So, if it's something we can shoot, at the close range target, so to speak, we do that.
Yeah, I like it, and you've helped a lot of veterans solve a lot of those problems. So that's definitely something that we applaud you on. Definitely keep up the good work with that. So I am curious though, because you do put a lot of hours. What kind of hours are you working up there? Because you're always on the go.
Well, my full-time work lately is as a lead researcher for the West Point, the U.S. Military Academy in West Point, New York, where I'm supporting what's called the Language, Regional Expertise, and Culture Program for the Department of Defense. There's some serious effort underway to try to enhance those programs, and I was fortunate enough to be tapped to lead that effort with a couple of other people on my team. I do that for my full-time work, but I also do support and do training as a subcontractor or a freelance contractor for Homeland Security and for the DoD at things like the Joint Counterintelligence Training Academy, and other entities and agencies in the National Capital Region. There's all kinds of need, especially right now, because we've reached the close of 20 years of war in Afghanistan and Iraq, where a lot of the institutional memory and knowledge from the current crop of soldiers is quickly getting out of the service. Anyone who was already in the service when that stuff happened, they're past their retirement requirement. They can retire at any time. And those who joined after the fact, a lot of them, because of the operational tempo, meaning the frequency and speed at which they deployed overseas or spent time away from home, a lot of those personnel want to take a break. So they may not be staying in for 20 years or 25 years like a lot of people want to. So it's very, very important to be able to bring that experience, that knowledge, that mental alacrity, if you will, into various businesses and ensure that it's captured for the sake of training the next generation of people.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. Now, that being said, with the new people coming in, what would you say to somebody that's young and thinking about getting into the military? I mean, you've made a whole life out of this. What would you say would be the best way for them to gear themselves to be ready to join our armed forces?
First and foremost, expect to put the mission and the fellow soldiers, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and Space Force Guardians, expect to put them in the mission first rather than yourself. So if that's something that really appeals to you, understand that teamwork is a really critical aspect of being in the military. And it means a lot more than just the pithy statements and catchy little, motivational posters and things. It really is a true to life daily thing in the military. And knowing that, you still have some other skills that are very critical. You need to be in good physical condition. You need to be able and willing and open to other cultures and other areas, other people's history and their social mores. You open your mind, or be prepared to open your mind to those things, because you're going to have an opportunity to live and work with people throughout the United States, coming together for basic training or basic officer or whatever course you may call it. They differ for branches.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, you've got to be physically fit and you've got to be mentally fit. You need to take that time. When you're in middle school and you're in high school or even in community college, or you're off at university and you make that decision before you turn maybe 25 or something, you need to focus on your schoolwork, focus on your academics. It sounds, to a kid, we've all been there. It sounds like you say that and when am I ever going to use algebra and things like that?
Right.
But the reality is a holistic academic background will help you no matter where you go and what you do. It really, really ensures that you can fit those lessons and those learning opportunities into your own knowledge and your own skill set and go forward with it. And if you can do that and still, play football, play soccer, play baseball, run track and field, do swimming, that type of stuff. If you can do all those things, then the military may really be a great opportunity for you, because you're going to get an opportunity to train and go places and do things that you can't do in the civilian community, no matter what your credentials say, or
100%.
what you're willing to say.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we all grow together.
Yeah.
So many things you just can't do on your own, and that's why we're growing as a veteran community now, and helping our fellow veterans and first responders to make sure that we all grow together and really bring those values out there to our workforce now. So it's pretty awesome what you're doing. Kevin, we gotta cut off for just a minute to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. I want to talk to you more about some of the other stuff you have going on. So don't go anywhere. Everybody else, hang out. We'll be right back. Even with all this financial uncertainty, real estate is still the best tool to build wealth. Whether you're looking at investments or using your real estate to provide a legacy, let us show you the way. I'm Chris Nolan of the Nolan Group of eXp Realty. Visit mynexthomefinder.com.
Sunshine Furniture brightens up your day.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal, Four Seasons, and Capri. We also have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington with styles designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. We're having a fall sale with lots of great markdowns, including all pictures, lamps, and accessories half price. Sunshine Furniture, 1295 US 1 in Vero Beach, next to Planet Fitness. Family owned and operated since 1991. Don't forget to visit our outlet and closeout store directly across the street, and visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day.
Wild, untamed, hilarious. Riverside Theater's Comedy Zone. Experience the Treasure Coast's best stage for live stand-up comedy this Friday and Saturday night at 7 and 9 p.m. You'll laugh till it hurts. Start your night at Live in the Loop with live entertainment, food and drinks, and after, be entertained with nationally ranked comedians, including an opening act and headliner with cabaret-style seating and food and drink table service. Get tickets at riversidetheater.com.
Upgrade your water. Let Affordable Water give you a free, no-obligation quote to replace your equipment. You might even be able to trade in your existing equipment. There's never been a better time to upgrade.
Affordable water.
All right, guys, we're back, and so glad you're still there. We got a lot of great stuff happening. As we said, if you're just tuning in, we got Kevin Tucker joining us all the way from Maryland. So, Kevin, once again, thanks for joining us, and I appreciate everything you've been sharing with us. We talked a lot about the military, but there's always something that drives us in the background, and you got a great family over there. I know they drive a lot of what you do. What are you doing when you're not working?
Well, most of the time, spending time with my wife and my kids. I have 3 sons. They're very young still, including the twins, they're 4. But I'm very fortunate that I was able to find a home after many, 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 many weeks and months of looking. And I know, Chris, you're very familiar with my process there.
Yes.
And the property has some space, so we've been able to plant fruit trees. We've been able to plant a lot of like berry bushes and things. I spend some time playing around on games, like on video games and things, like many people in my generation and younger. But I also spend time traveling, and we like to go to museums. We like to spend time at the park, or just letting our kids play and be kids. It's become super critical for me to feel that way and know that they have the freedom to act like kids. A lot of people don't get that opportunity, and sometimes it's a benefit, sometimes it's a detriment. So giving them the opportunity to really just be kids is super important to me and my wife. My wife is also prior service, as you know. She spent some time as a combat medic in the Army,
Right.
and she's a full-time mom because most of the time I may not be home, even though I technically work from home most of the time. I still go and do things to support a lot of those training activities, and many of them are last minute or short notice support requirements.
Right.
And it's funny you asked that question, and it occurs to me that has really become almost a support structure, or what a behavioral therapist might call a positive control factor, because it gives me the opportunity to interact face to face with other veterans who come to do that stuff. It doesn't pay a vast amount of, it's not going to make you independently wealthy,
Yeah.
but it is something that reminds us of the things we did when we wore a uniform, and it brings us together with people who we can relate to. And in some ways, it's almost like a break from the day-to-day fatherhood, household parenting, husbanding, being a husband for my wife, that kind of thing. So it's nice to get out of the house and do that sort of thing, But we all struggle with a lot of stuff, and one of the things that's been tough is a lot of the medical things that came with being in the military. So, my wife has some issues from that. I have quite a few from that, and some of our time is dedicated to that as well, unfortunately. But
Right.
as time goes on, we find more and better ways to improve on that process too.
Well, it's funny you said, activities that are not necessarily going to make you independently wealthy, but I don't think any of us that went into the military went in with the intention of becoming wealthy from the military. So
yeah, absolutely not.
It's about something so much bigger than any one of us. And, but the thing about it is we have a wealth that others can't touch. People can't take those experiences away from us. They can't, the service that we've had out there, and all the veterans are out there. That's something nobody can take away from you. So we got to remember that good and bad, we have those experiences. So that's why now we have to make sure that we're supporting our fellow veterans. And as a matter of fact, Kevin, I don't even know if you know, but this month we're supporting, sponsoring two veterans or spouses of veterans, because the spouses serve alongside.
Right.
And we're going to sponsor two people to actually become realtors. We're going to take care of their training, get them up and running, all the systems, tools, everything that they would need right here in our Florida market. So anybody that's looking for to become a realtor here in the area, I'd love to talk to them. For that, just all they have to do is email me some instructions we have, but basically email me why you'd make a good realtor, and at cnolan@thenolangroup.com, and we'll get you down the path, and we'll pick the two candidates that
I love that. Yeah.
show the most potential. So
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Get down here. Chris will pay for you.
So, what about now? You're up in Maryland. I know you're doing a lot of stuff with some of the small businesses. Do you have any avenues up there for veterans looking to get back to work, or coming out of the service looking for work?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, most veterans have exposure to firearm safety and knowledge of first aid and things like that. There are several companies that I work hand in hand with. Firearms Training Incorporated, which is based here out of La Plata. Discreet Security Services, which is also based out of the local area, Stealth Security Services, and Conscious Tactical, all companies that are owned and operated by veterans or a team of veterans. And in all cases, I can't think of any instance where they're not service disabled, although there may be a few of those floating around. They're constantly looking for people to train, equip, and put to work. And most of those are good paying jobs, everything from instructing people on how to use firearms, to performing investigations, to learning how to be an EMT or a paramedic, and getting people set up for that work, because some of these companies interact and even play a sort of shell game with their personnel, because the lack of personnel available in the community at large is very evident.
Right.
So it's almost they share personnel a lot of times. So something like going to work a few days a week or what have you for a veteran who may not be ready to go back into the primary workforce, but needs to learn a skill, a valuable skill that pays well, while having some flexible time. These are the types of jobs that really can boost them into financial, fiscal security with themselves while they're dealing with maybe the physical security and health and well-being of other people. And that ranges from high net worth individuals and security for them, and to kidnapping and ransom type scenarios overseas, working with foreign governments, providing training opportunities and better structured, especially for some of the smaller nations in the world, some of the places in Africa where you've got warlords and things like that have just run roughshod over organized government for some cases decades or longer.
Right.
Some of them are trying to claw their way out of that situation, and the support that we provide as Americans tends to be knowledge, capability, but more than anything, it's that volunteer self-sacrifice of spending the time, energy, and being willing to put yourself in what may or may not be harm's way, but putting yourself out there and being that person that you want others to also be.
Well, Kevin, I know you have a ton of stuff going on, so we won't bog down your inbox. But for anybody listening or watching, and you want information on some of these companies that Kevin's talking about, email me. I will be sure to get you the contact information you need if you're up in those areas. And obviously, they operate all over the place, so you may not necessarily need to be right in the Maryland area to consider some of those options. But now, Heather, your husband's a veteran as well.
He is. He's an Army vet. Have one son still active duty in the Navy. Actually, I'll be visiting him tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he's over in Monterey, and then I had another one that put in 7 years, did a tour in the Navy as well. So, my husband, being Army, pushed him. Air Force, Navy.
But yeah, we
very proud, and we have one in JROTC. So
nice. I didn't realize that part. I knew the other ones.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so we have deep roots into our community. So I'm excited about it. Matter of fact, we're also going to have our grand opening at our new office in Vero Beach, and we're going to be doing it on November 10th. So we're going to be celebrating the Marine Corps birthday. Kevin, if you happen to be down in the area, you ought to come join us. Even though
if I'm down there, I certainly will. I don't foresee that happening, but I never know some days. So is it possible? Most definitely.
Well, the great part about it is if you just jump on 95, it's 940 miles, make a left, you're right there. Okay, you can't miss it. We'll be right on the right-hand side once you make the left.
Full disclosure, Heather, Chris knows that I'm willing to drive pretty dadgum far to get somewhere that I want to be, and it doesn't really bother me since nobody's shooting at me. So,
what is it with veterans driving? They always want to drive, no flying. It's always about driving.
I don't mind flying. I like driving.
Yeah, we drive so much.
If I had Kevin's car, I'd be driving a lot more. He's got a beautiful Challenger.
Does he? Like my husband had one too. It must be an Army thing.
It might be, but honestly, it's one of those things where Americana and just having the wherewithal to take the time and just reconnect with yourself in something that's been since the early mid 20th century. Yeah, absolutely. And that it's a hands-on experience, and that's something, again, veterans, we're hands-on types of people.
Yep. I'll have to send you some pictures of my truck. I picked up a Ford F-350 and just redid the whole thing. So now it looks like a tank, and it's got the American flag and the EGA and all that stuff. It looks pretty sharp.
Oh, cool.
So
it's impressive. Me and my husband were shocked and how good it turned out. It really looks good.
But Kevin, I can't thank you enough for coming on and joining us today. It's always super motivating every time we get a chance to talk to you and all the stuff that you got going on out there. We just hope that you continue to do all the great stuff that you're doing. And don't forget, we're always here to back you up in any way we can. And definitely look forward to talking with you again here soon. So
yes, thank you for everything.
Likewise, thank you guys. Appreciate the time.
Absolutely. And everybody else, don't forget, email me at cnolan@thenolangroup.com if you have any interest in becoming a realtor. Unfortunately, though, we're out of time for this week, so we're going to cut out of here. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook. Follow us to your new home. We'll see you real soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.